everyone, my name is HEARTBROKEN Gaming. Welcome back to more Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Now, we definitely unlocked the 2 new side stories. We decided to do the 2 more new side stories because in the last one, we unlocked all these 6 side stories to see what they actually are and how their origins goes. But anyway, welcome back to more side stories in this game. But anyway, we have 2 new side stories available now, which basically is called Reflection and Self-Love. We're going to start with Reflection first, and leave a like if you want me to do Self-Love in the next video, and something will happen at the end of part 2, and we can actually get more notifications on the mail, pictures, files, or I don't know what's going on, even music too. Anyway, with that being said, everyone, let's start the Reflection now. Begin the side story. Let's do it, my bros, for that. Oh, there we go. Okay, now we're here. Thought the game was lagging. Okay. Oh, God, why does it always do that? My virtual machine is acting a little weird. Please be nice, okay? Am I bothering you? What am I doing here? Oh, no. Oh, okay, just checking. It's hard to tell since you're always looking so into it when you're reading. It makes me scared to interrupt. Well, it's within my expectations to be interrupted when I read here. It's mainly when I'm by myself that I don't like it. That makes sense. I guess if you're here in the first place, then you're more ready to socialize, even if it takes a little bit of prodding. It's not so bad to be social if I let others do the work, so it can be healthy to put myself in the social environment every now and then. It's mostly difficult when I don't know anyone, or there are too many people, or everyone is being too silly for me to keep up with. Yuri glances across the room at Sayuri and Natsuki. Sayuri has her head cocked back and her mouth open, trying to catch pieces of the cookie that Natsuki is slobbing into the air, but the pieces keep bouncing off her face and hitting the floor. Maybe I should say something. Oh, no need. They just ran out of the cookie. What a waste. They've really become good friends, haven't they? I'm happy. Sayuri seems particularly good at making that happen. But the 2 of them are both on the energetic side, so I suppose it works out well. Yeah, come to think of it, you and I haven't had many chances to talk one-on-one, have we? Though that may be partially my fault, since I'm supposed to be the one engaging club members. Not at all. I probably formed a habit of drawing a minimal attention to myself. The responsibility is equally on me, at least to display some openness to engage. Well, what about during times like lunch? Do you meet up with friends? I just read. Oh, but I like it that way. It feels nice to be carried off again after the morning of classes. Do you always read fantasy? Oh, not always. I suppose it's all I've read recently, but only because I'm in the middle of the series. There are still 2 more books after this one. I guess those long books suit you well, since you spend so much time reading. Well, fantasy may be my favorite, but after that I'm more or less indiscriminate to genres. I'll read anything with depth and maturity. Oh yeah. Even like romance? Well, there are a lot of books that have elements of romance in them. Oh, come on, Yuri, you know what I mean. Monica lowers her voice. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, so I won't tell anyone if you do too. Maybe more when I was in middle school. I mean, I was really lonely and people were mean to me a lot. So it kind of felt like, yeah. Please don't make me think about the past. Sorry, I just got super curious. You know, we should totally pick out the romance novel to read. That would be so much fun. Absolutely not. Really? Even if it was just between us? Try asking someone who has no shame. Like Natsuki. Ouch! Sorry, I swear I didn't mean that. Well, I guess it was my fault for pressing you. I'm like that for things in my past too. You know, things I feel too embarrassed to re-experience. And there's nothing wrong with growing out of things, and happens to everyone. For instance, Natsuki's interest in manga reminds me quite a bit of how intense I used to be about my own interests. It makes me think that I shall likely grow out of it too. Okay, there's Natsuki. Hey, were you talking about me? No, we were just talking about how our interests have changed over the years. When did you get into manga, Natsuki? Like a couple of years, I guess. I was already sort of into it before that, but I wasn't really going hard until then. Oh yeah? What was it that inspired you to get more into it? I don't know. I guess let me think. It was after I discovered the series that I really liked. Yeah, I was just really fed up with a lot of things, and I got super into this, into this one series that I really related to. I guess I had an edgy phase where I just hated everyone around me and wanted to be by myself. Hey, kind of like Yuri. Monica? Sorry, that's completely wrong, so it's still cool that you both really found your thing. They're almost like opposites, but it sounds like they helped you a lot through hard times. You know it. Wow, what the heck? Is that a book even bigger than the last one you were reading? It's technically slightly longer, but not by very much. How high do you think it will go if you stacked up the whole series? Natsuki estimates by holding her hand high above her head, sizing up an imaginary stack. I should get one of those mangas that's like 50 volumes long, so that I can say I've read more than you. Not that I have the money for that. Please, that would hardly count when your books only have a few words per page. I know, I was just joking. I could never actually read books like yours. It's too boring for me. Yuri shoots a glare at Natsuki. It's not boring. Chill. I said for me, not you. I can have my own opinion. I just think it's too convoluted. Sayuri, are those from the floor? Okay, there's Sayuri. Gross. Also, wash your hands before touching any of my books. But my hands aren't dirty. Just do it. The oils are there even if you can't see them. Fine. Sheesh. Sayuri trots out the door, and Natsuki follows. Is it because of COVID-19? I think it is a COVID-19 thing. Yuri, you look a little upset. What kind of nerve does she have to call my hobby boring? Well, she did correct herself. Hardly, she was so condescending. I don't mind if she thinks it's not for her. I already understand that it's not for everyone. But she knows well how much these mean to me. So how about just leaving me alone instead of needlessly telling me the things you hate about it? I'm sorry, Yuri. You may be right. This will be the last time people have strong feelings about what they like and don't like. Especially in the literature club. So I should figure out how to mediate discussions to keep them positive and constructive. For the record, I've always been impressed by the level of creativity in your books, and also your ability to get through them so quickly. Thank you. Okay, well, this is something that I'll have to think about and revisit. I'm sure I can help Natsuki find some common ground with you. Common ground isn't necessary. I just wish to be respected. At that then, either way, I'll do my best. I'm skeptical when it comes to Natsuki. I trust you, Monica, but I'm skeptical. Okay, then next. Okay, everyone, we have a special club meeting today. As you know, the literature club is a place where we get to share things that we're really passionate about. But that also means that we should be mindful of how we respond to each other's feelings. I think we have a chance to turn our differences into positive energy for each other. Aren't you being a little dramatic about this? This is important to me. Well, sorry, I just feel like I'm being accused or something. No, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm sorry if I came off that way. But our conversation yesterday made me reflect on the power of language, and I thought it would be a good topic for the literature club, don't you think? I'm sure we're going to have differences in opinion a lot, so I need to make sure we're prepared to keep a positive atmosphere in the club. If you say so, sure. The cool thing about the language is that it gives us a lot of different ways to express the same idea or emotion. We have a lot of control over how we want the other person to feel when receiving our thought. This goes for poetry, narratives, casual conversation, basically anything. For example, Sayori, what's your favorite food? I have them organized by category. I should start with snacks. Or do you mean full meals? Should I include breakfast? Oh jeez. Okay, how about your favorite fruit? That's easy, cherries. My favorite, apple. Really? I always thought cherries tasted nasty. What? Cherries are delicious! Oh my fucking god, Sayori. Your freaking face! Whoa, that's a pretty strong reaction. Well, I just don't understand how somebody could think cherries are nasty. How does it make you feel? I don't know, sad? Defensive maybe? Yeah, I got offensive. See, the reason you had such a strong reaction wasn't just because I don't like cherries. It's because you felt like your opinion was under attack. But that's weird, right? Something like taste is completely subjective. But when I say something like, I think cherries taste nasty, I'm using objective language. I'm challenging Sayori's reality that cherries are delicious with my own, which is that cherries are nasty. Wait, hold on. How is that objective? When you just said it was only your own opinion. It has to do with the way our brains interpret the words. You're talking about the reality of the cherries, not your feelings about them. Like Sayori. Let's rewind for a second and pretend I didn't tell you that I think cherries are nasty. Good. So, what if instead of that, I said I've tried cherries and they're not for me. It's not the kind of flavor I enjoy. Well, that's fine. As long as you don't call them nasty. Nasty is a nasty word. Whoa! Nasty is a nasty word. That doesn't even make sense. Okay, so cherries was kind of a weird example, but I think it gets the point across. This time around, instead of talking about the cherries, I just talked about my feelings and Sayori didn't get defensive. So instead of clashing with each other, it's like we received an invitation to talk about our differences. Yuri, you don't need to take notes. I'm not gonna quiz you or anything. I know that. I was just... sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. You can do whatever you like. But does anyone have any thoughts so far? Yeah, I just feel like I shouldn't have to put all my language through the filter just to protect someone's feelings. Well, you don't have to. The choice is yours on how you want to come across to other people. I'm only suggesting it as a tool to help turn your differences into a positive experience, rather than an argument. Right, Sayori? Whatever you say, cherry hater. Oh, come on! What? Cherry hater! Sayori, I actually like cherries. I was just saying that to help demonstrate. What the heck? I've been duped! I'm sorry, Sayori. I'll make it up to you later. How about a cherry sundae? You are welcome to dupe me anytime, my beloved president. Buying your people's loyalty? How deplorable. Okay, like you would turn down the free sundae, Yuri. And you were certainly a fan of those cupcakes I brought in the other week. I was reading and not keeping track of them. Oh, that's enough. We're getting off topic. So now that we had the gist of it, how about we try with something more relevant to the club? Like manga, right? Let's try to have a productive discussion about our differences in opinion. Yuri, do you want to start? Well, I'd rather not, no. Oh, how come? But because I don't see how anything productive can come from that. It's just going to start a fight. No, it'll be fine. That's why I'm here to moderate. Let's just have a calm and rational discussion. Yeah, give me a little more credit. I'm not the child. You don't have to coddle my feelings. I always think it's more respectable than to just speak your mind. Respectable? Yuri's expression changes at that word. As Monica recalls, being respected was the crux of the matter for Yuri. Well, the point of the exercise isn't exactly like, it's fine. I have nothing against anyone personally. You're entitled to enjoy whatever it is you like. I just prefer more depth and nuance in my reading material. I look for stories that are imaginative and sophisticated beyond the surface level. Oh well, that's just a misunderstanding then. I thought you were gonna say that manga's for children or something. Like I don't hear enough of that. But there's a plenty of deep manga. I'm not clueless about manga. I've read my own fair share when I was younger. What? Are you serious? How come you never told me? Because I'm past that point in my life, and I really prefer not to revisit it. I prefer more mature things now. Excuse me? Okay, hold on. Can I jump in here? Let's try to keep things subjective. Because if you imply that manga is immature, then aren't you implying that someone is immature for being into it? Well, maybe it's immature to judge people for having different tastes than you. Natsuki, nobody's immature. I've read Natsuki's manga and Yuri's fantasy, and I love them both in their own way. Okay. It's great that you like it, but I still find it boring. Boring isn't subjective. Okay, it bores me. That's subjective. But, I mean, the thing about... This is ridiculous. Do you see why I didn't want to participate in this? I knew it was just going to make people upset. I'm not upset. Like I said, I don't care what other people think. But I always got the impression that you secretly looked down upon me. So I'm glad that my suspicions were confirmed. That's not true at all. You're making assumptions. You can't blame me for getting defensive when nobody ever has the least bit of respect for the things that I'm into. The only thing that I look down upon is when people make fun of me for just being myself and trying to mind my own business. What? Have you looked in the mirror? Tell me again about respect after calling out all of my interests immature. You can't. Please stop, please. Do you mean the things you're saying right now? Let's just be friends. I didn't mean for this to happen. Well, it did. So please don't invite yourself to try and solve other people's problems next time, okay? Yuri's piercing words send the club room into the choked silence. As she gathers her things, she leaves. Holy crap. I never heard her sound like that before. She must be so pissed. Well, you weren't very nice either, so... I was just saying! How did this happen? It's my fault. Yuri wasn't strong. I shouldn't have tried to moderate the conflict when I know how bad I am at dealing with conflicts. It was a really stupid thing for me to do. It's nobody's fault, and it wasn't stupid. Everyone in the club is a nice person. Nobody would have expected this. But I guess if we're sensitive about the things we really love. Honestly, she kind of she kind of brought it upon herself. Like I said, I don't care if you're not into manga. But if you actually look down on other people for it, that's kind of a point I was trying to make in the first place. It's not about coding things. It's about just recognizing and understanding our differences. Okay. But here's the thing about that. Yuri actually looks down on me. It has nothing to do with her word choice or anything like that. So I see what you were trying to do. But I really think that the problem here is her. Not just like the way we talk to each other, right? I mean, Yuri isn't like that. She's a lot sweeter than you're giving her credit for. I'm sure she'll be reflecting on this. I actually think everyone should. It'll be fine. I'll figure something out. Wow. I'm just like saying that instinctively. I'm just setting myself up to cause more problems. This wasn't your fault, Monica. You don't have to beat yourself up over it. If you ask me, it's good that the truth finally came out. Because I can just move on. I can just move on now. But, it's fine, I promise. Let's just get our mind off this, okay? In fact, it's a good opportunity to read some manga without having to worry about feeding Yuri's superiority complex. Don't be mean. I'll talk or read manga or whatever you want. Don't be mean to my friends, okay? Sorry. I'm just bitter. Everything will be okay. I mean, I don't have the answers, but I at least know that we're all good people and don't want to hurt each other. This would be a learning experience. Monica says that, but her uneasiness is given away by how much she has to force the reassuring tone in her voice. This was bound to happen eventually. Natsuki and Yuri have always engaged with each other the least out of anyone, and this is the reason. Sorry, there was a Nats. I had to actually catch it. As Sayuri and Natsuki proceeded to distract themselves with manga, Monica sighs to herself, unable to shake her worried thoughts. Will the club really have to just come to terms with the fact that some members will be incompatible with each other? Monica desperately doesn't want to admit that, as she knows Sayuri doesn't either. But for once, a solution doesn't seem to be in sight. Okay, so we do got the side stories here, but we're gonna check out the music first. Let's teamwork, it says. Very smart. Wow! Wow, that is very cool. And then they just left out with that one soundtrack here. But very, very, very smart, bro. Very, very smart. Anyway, we're going back to side stories. We're going to check out part 2 of Reflection. So anyway, let's do it, my bros, to see how they're up to. A new day arrives. Sayuri arrives at the club room earlier than usual. That is not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still. So she sits down at the desk and pulls out the sheet of paper, primed to jot down her thoughts. Sayuri has made a habit of scribbling her thoughts and feelings onto paper whenever possible, as it tends to serve as her best inspiration for poetry. My heart feels vacant because a ship sailed away. Yo! Ew! Oh, Natsuki! What the frick, this fucking soundtrack again? Natsuki pokes her head out from behind the closet door. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you, but it would have been a lot more awkward if I didn't say anything. I thought you want me listening in on your own poetry thing. Yeah? Thanks for realizing that. Should I let you finish that up then? Oh no, it wasn't. I mean, I just do it whenever it's convenient. You're not interrupting. Where's Monica, by the way? Oh, she's out in the hallway. Huh? Why? Well, just in case she runs into Yuri. Sometimes Yuri is too nervous to come into the club room by herself, so... Oh, jeez. Does Yuri really let things bother her for that long? She can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope when you get a bad thought in your head. Maybe you can distract yourself for a little while. But as soon as it's just you and your thoughts again, it comes back. Yeah. I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened if we all just ignore it and move on. I don't know. I don't want to be bothered by this. It's so stupid. Her opinion of me doesn't matter anyway. Besides, it makes me feel really guilty, and I hate that too. It's okay to have feelings. It doesn't make you weak. Let's figure this out together. Fine. Only because you're good at this stuff. Let's try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that will help us understand where your bad feelings are coming from. Well, I was unhappy the way things were before we had to have that conversation yesterday. What part of the conversation made you upset? Was it Yuri being mean about the manga? Maybe I doubt it though, because my friends and other people make fun of manga all the time, but I just brush it off and ignore them. But something about it really got to me this time, and I hate that I'm letting that happen. Is it because it came from Yuri? No. Why would that matter? I mean, well, maybe. I just hate that she thinks she's so much better than me just because she likes to pretend to be all sophisticated. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decide that they don't like me or manga or whatever, but Yuri acts like she's too good to even give it a chance. I'm sorry. Everyone deserves a chance. Yeah, exactly. Would you give Yuri's books a chance? After this? Obviously not. What about before this? Well, I wouldn't until I got bored, which wouldn't take very long. But if you actually keep an open mind, then it's not hard to realize that a story can be deep and meaningful without being needlessly complicated. I see. But you know, I like Yuri's books. Yeah? But you like manga more, right? Sayuri shakes her head. I like them both. I like them in different ways, but I like them both. I mean, the manga, it's really honest and fun and easy to just let go with. And the fantasy has a lot to interpret and uncover. And it's really rewarding to have some good quiet time together with it. But the most important thing is that both the manga and the fantasy are true to themselves. So I love them both. And I think there's room for both of them to be in the same club together. And I just feel maybe they have more in common than you could think. How do you get along with everyone so well? I always get into fights with people. Like first it was with Monica when I was new to the club, and then it was you, and now it's Yuri. And I'm always like, oh, that person is being such a jerk. And if they just realized that, then we could at least get along. But nobody else has this problem. I just keep running away from the reality. That everybody's just a jerk to me because nobody likes me. And I don't know why, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate it. Natsuki. Sayuri puts a comforting hand on Natsuki's shoulder. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved as much as everyone else. Everyone has different ways they like to communicate, you know? And sometimes that makes it harder for us to understand each other. I think that sometimes we get lucky and we make friends who are really good at the same kinds of communication. And it feels like you magically connect with them. But other times, even if both people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other or to get the communication wrong. It's something that Yuri struggles a lot with too. It can be really hard. It takes a lot of reflection and self-awareness and vulnerability. I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability. I always have to be the strongest. What do you mean? Tell me about that part of you. Well, it sounds stupid, but I'm really used to people being mean to me. Like my friends and I guess my dad. Like when I don't get good grades or even stupid things. Like if my room isn't clean. So what am I gonna do? Cry about it? If I let myself get upset, then it's just letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So things always have to be everyone else's fault. It feels like if something goes wrong, and there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault then. I just get really angry and I find ways to blame everything else instead. Do you see yourself as better than Yuri? If I said that, then it would just sound really full of myself. No! Our thoughts and our feelings are two different things. Even if we don't like our feelings, we have to understand them if we want to learn more about themselves. That's a part of vulnerability, you know? Accepting that we have to feel feelings that we don't like. I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person. Because my feelings just want to tell me that I'm so much better than her. And that she's a judgmental know-it-all who's stuck in her edgy face. And that I'm just way above that garbage. But I'm terrible for feeling that way. You're not terrible. You are not your feelings. But you are not your feelings. Say that to yourself out loud. Fine. I am not my feelings. The way that I like to picture it is that those feelings are like your roommate. You live in the same house and you gotta see each other very every day. And even if you can ignore each other most of the time, you're gonna run into each other every now and then, and it's gonna make you feel like poop. So the other option is to get to know each other. You could communicate and learn from each other, and maybe even help each other change for the better. Doesn't that help you understand? Does that help you understand? How do you know so much about this stuff? I just have a roommate that can be really hard to get along with. Called depression. Depression? But you're like the happiest person I know. I am not my feelings. I want to be a good person like you. Aw, you little sweetheart. We're all good people. You and Yuri and Monica. And I think Yuri will eventually learn that about you. Natsuki remained silent, feeling a little overwhelmed. Despite Yuri's kind of reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to fill her, as though flowing from a wound inside her. Was it a result of her vulnerability? No. It wasn't as though she was inflicted a wound after becoming vulnerable. It was as though she began to rediscover an old wound, one that cannot simply be bandaged and left alone any longer. We're back here again. This seems like a good one. Good room. Yuri, what are you doing all the way over here? I was looking for you. Please don't yell at me. Oh, I'm not going to yell at you. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about what happened yesterday. It was unfair for me to put everyone on the spot like that. Next time, I will just try to jump and solve everyone's problems. I guess it's a bad habit of mine. You're not mad at me. I thought you were the one mad at me. I was so awful yesterday. Yuri curls up, recalling the details of the argument. I can't even have a normal conversation without saying something wrong and making everyone upset. Hold on, that's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? Yuri pauses for a second, then manages a nod. Monica takes a seat next to her on the staircase. I'm having a lot of negative thought patterns, and I can't get away from them. What kinds of negative thought patterns? Like everyone hates me, especially Natsuki. Aw, that's terrible. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Well, because Monica thinks back to the time that she herself found herself in the altercation with Natsuki, and how a display of maturity from Monica was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think Natsuki is just naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels the need to protect herself. But you know, she's really not a bad person. In fact, I think she can be really thoughtful and considerate. She just, well, I guess the way it works is that she wants to receive some degree of kindness first before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh, but that means the burden is on me. I don't know how to say things that make people like me. Every time I open my mouth, Yuri shakes her head at herself and tugs her on her hair. It's okay, Yuri. You don't need to beat yourself up. I think anyone will like you if you had the chance to get to know you. Well, unfortunately, the opposite is true. That's why I'm not talkative anymore in the first place. Because everyone used to think I was weird and talk about me behind my back. That's what happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even said she found it more respectable when people speak their mind, so I did. And then she hated me anyway. That was enough to confirm my fears. But Sayori and I liked you, and we've gotten to know you a lot by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. That's not what I meant, really. I was just wondering if you had an opinion of her. I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me, and I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person. So for someone to just treat me like I'm inferior, despite my tastes, that's just the worst kind of insults coming from someone like her. And it makes me think bad things about her. But everyone else seems to like her, so the only explanation is that it's me who's doing something wrong again. And my feelings about her are wrong. And I'm wrong to get upset over something so childish and inconsequential. No, Yuri. Feelings are never wrong. Well, they're not right. That's the thing. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know. They're just a state of being that we don't always have control over. But that doesn't mean that they have to control us. I feel like that's something I learned around when I first started the club. We can hate ourselves for feeling a certain way about things. Or we can let you know, just acknowledge that they exist, and try to understand them better. I could never be mad at you for just feeling a certain way. It's about how you handle them. And I think working through feelings is a great opportunity for teamwork. Yuri wears a dejected expression. You make it sound so easy. You're so mature and so good with people. I feel like such a child in comparison. Oh, Yuri, I'm far from perfect. But these are learned skills. They didn't come naturally to me either. It's really hard to reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from your thoughts. I want to be a good person. Well, I think it takes a good person to get this far. That's not good enough. I just want to be able to communicate it to her. Communicate what? How I feel. How it makes me feel frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of the things that mean so much to me. And how it reminds me of me. Because I know what it's like to feel misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself is better than everyone else is just a defensive mechanism. We're just people. We're fragile and unstable. But I'm just tired of that getting in the way. I can't stand it when the peace is disturbed like this. Yeah, you can't focus on your reading when the peace is disturbed, right? Because the literature club should be happy for everyone. Monica looks at Yuri in adoration. I feel like Sayori must be rubbing off on me. Cause I really want to hug you now. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, I mean, well, if you want to, then I wouldn't really mind, so. Monica pulls Yuri into the short embrace. You're so gentle. And I love it when you communicate your feelings. And I feel like I get to see that side of you. And I'm sure Natsuki will too. I'm going to write her a letter. Oh, a letter? What a great idea. Just because I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure, I always let my feelings get the best of me. And I forget to say all the important things, and I say things I don't mean. Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. Such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardens with determination. People don't naturally gravitate towards me like they do for you and Sayori. My personality just isn't suited for that. And I wouldn't want it to be. But something I've learned is that friendships don't always just magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I never would have seen myself making friends with someone like Sayori. We're opposite in a lot of ways. But I'm friends with her because she put so much effort into understanding me so that we can get along. I think it was the same with you. You both gave me a lot of time and patience, and I wonder if she feels the same way. Natsuki? Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make more friends, I had to be somebody that I'm not. There's a type of person or a magical formula I had to follow in order to make someone like me. And that's just like me to think that. Always so occupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendship happens when you think about the other person. When you offer time and effort to understand them and respect them and trust that they also want to be a good person. That's what I learned through my observations in the literature club. Observations? Monica is caught by surprise. Yuri has always kept to herself so much that it's so unusual to hear her suddenly talking about the club like this. But Yuri gently smiles to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about people. Sayori too. And it makes me happy because I learn a lot of things. That's so sweet. I had no idea it meant by that much to you. Monica never thought much of it. But in the past weeks, Yuri always seemed to be especially attentive when it came to the problems and concerns of others. Always wanting to listen and learn more about her friends in the club. It's true. Sayori and Monica are naturally more comfortable with other people and can more easily work through situations of conflict. But that doesn't make them better people. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and the capacity to improve. And the first step towards improving oneself is reflection and self-awareness. It's something that Yuri never gave herself enough credit for, but that Monica can recognize as an incredible trait. And with that, her confidence in the club is restored. A very shy girl with long pretty hair is wandering the bustling lunchtime at hallways, her fists pressed into her collarbone. When she finds the literature club president's classroom, she stands at the door, glancing all around her before peering inside. Monica is sitting and chatting with a group of unknown friends. As expected, it was a bad idea after all. Suddenly, Monica glances towards the door, making the girl panic and duck out of sight before she can regain composure and decide for sure to leave. The classroom door gently opens. Yuri, what a surprise to see you during lunch. Yuri squeaks in response. Please help me. What? Is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. I don't know how to write letters. Thank goodness. I thought there was some kind of emergency. Monica briefly glances over her shoulder at her other friends. Do you want some help? We could go find an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? I feel bad taking you away from your friends. It's totally fine, I promise. We weren't really doing anything. One sec. Monica trots back into her classroom, says something like, I gotta go, to her friends, and grabs a pen off her desk before returning to Yuri. I don't know what the other friends are. I don't know what their names are, either. Okay, let's find somewhere quiet. Yuri nods and follows Monica as the two of them set off. How are you today? Huh, me? Well, yes. Oh gosh. Sorry, I was just caught off guard. I'm doing well today. Just tired and never seem to get enough sleep during the week. Oh, come. Oh, I don't know. I think I'm just easily distracted and I get really sucked into things and start neglecting the time. Me too. I do that too. Hey, this classroom is empty. Let's go in here. After peering inside, Monica opens the classroom door and the two of them enter. Yuri's moment of relaxation ends. She watches as Monica pulls two chairs up to the same desk, then obeys as Monica beckons her to take a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. You nervous? I don't want to do this. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. Yuri shakes her head. It's my chance to do something good. I don't need to take initiative. gosh, you must be really determined. I know how hard it is to step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. Yuri pushes her through her anxiety and grabs a handful of lined paper from her notebook. Then she picks up her pen. Oh, this is new. This is new. New side story. Yes, boys. Hey, you're left-handed. That's neat. Ah, okay. Yep, left-handed. My head is really left. But with your view, it's on your right. Ah, yeah. And now it's on my right hand. And now I don't have to worry about it bumping your arm. Monica playfully rubs her shoulder against Yuri's. Sorry. I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyway, how about we start by listening to the different things you want to say to her? Yuri, thanks. I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. It's okay. How about some of the things you said to me yesterday? But, never mind. I guess I'll try. Yuri thinks for a moment longer, her tension evident. And then she writes the word reflection. This is about my reflection on our behavior. The key question is why we act like this towards each other, but have been able to separately be friends with Sayori and Monica. That's me. Yes, it is. So, Yuri thinks, I've been able to befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests. The same goes for Natsuki too. We started off as pretty hostile to each other because I was so worried about getting what I wanted. But she just wanted it to be respected more than anything else. Once I stopped making it all about me, she was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So what kinds of things do you want to do for her? I want to do the same things for her like that I had to receive. I like it when people respond positively to the things I talk about and not just brush me off. I think I like it when my feelings are taken seriously, and I like when you and Sayori trust that I want to be a good person even when I'm not doing a good job at it. Let's write those things down. As she's blushing, look at Monica's cheek. Or what was going on with that face expression? Okay, Yuri writes some things down. I think the most important thing to remember her is that Natsuki is feeling vulnerable, so we should make sure that the letter puts her first. It's hard when you're feeling hurt, but it never helps to just tell someone all the things that they're doing wrong. I think first you have to make sure that they know you're ready to respect them and listen to them, and admit the things that you feel you could do better. I was just looking at the background. Maybe the sun is rising, or it's evening, or I think the lenses are actually moving, as I could see now. Then finally, you ask what you would like in return. How does that sound for the structure? It could be 3 paragraphs, one for each of those points. I like that. My thoughts were so disorganized, I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. You're so amazing at these things. Oh, stop. You've done so much more than I have, you know. You spend so much time reflecting and being open-minded. That's the hardest thing for anyone to do. All I'm doing is helping you put on the piece of paper. So I think you're the amazing one. Monica gives Yuri's hand a quick squeeze. But as she lets go, she's caught by surprise when Yuri curls her fingers to hook Monica's hand in place. For a while, they sit like that in the silence, save for the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Yesterday, you told me something that I'm thinking about a lot. What was that? The thing about how feelings aren't right or wrong, and that they're just a state of being we need to come to terms with. It made me think about how a person's behavior isn't always just how they decided to be. It's also made up of their past experiences and their insecurities. I think that helps me see other people as actual people rather than as insignificant side characters who are out to get me somehow. Is that how you felt about Natsuki? Yuri nods. But in reality, everyone is always trying their best, and everyone wants to be happy. Monica peers over at Yuri's paper, but to her surprise, Yuri pulls it in closer, partially covering it with her arm. I have to be able to read it to help you out, you know. It's okay. My thoughts are a lot more organized now, after being able to talk to you about it. Now that I'm actually putting it on paper, I realize I'd really prefer others not to read it. Yuri laughed softly to herself, a rare expression. I'm kind of glad to hear that, actually. I somehow keep finding ways to butt into this whole thing. I've done enough damage. But it's also been so wonderful talking about this. I mean, I always thought that you were really smart, but Yuri smiles. I will always be terrible at these things. People are just so incomprehensible to me. I'll never get the hang of being one. But listening to you so much has really helped me make sense of some things. So just don't call it damage, please. Monica gives Yuri a gentle smile. I knew it! I saw that coming! They're all smiling gently. I can't believe I came to this club looking for fantasy geeks, and all I got was real friends who value me. Is that a joke? Of course it is. I still can't tell you with. Tell with you. I'm sorry. No, I love it. Please never change. As you wish. Yuri glances at the closet. We're almost out of time. Will you be able to finish? Before the end of the day, probably. But I don't want to come to the club the same day that Natsuki reads it. I'm too shy. I can give it to her instead if you like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course, I promise. Thank you. Yuri exhales. The two stand up. I'll message you when it's ready. Yeah, Monica nods. Good luck. I'm here if you need me. Yuri returns a nod, and the two depart. Okay, so we got pictures here now. Okay, there it is. So that's in it. There's another one. What is this? Oh my God! Finish the side story reflection too. Very nice. Just dropping the poems here. How rude of you, Yuri. Okay, I'll just have to go down. There it is. Okay, the scene from the side story reflection. Very smart. Is there anything else? There it is. Okay, a small quiet stairwell which Yuri sometimes prefers as a reading location. Anything here? Okay, I guess that's it. Yeah, pretty sure that's it. Wow. Okay, so leave a like if you want me to do the last side story called Self-Love. But I'm pretty sure, wow. We have the CGs too. Very smart. So anyway, thank you so much for watching now. If you really like another episode of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, make sure you drop the like button, stay 20% cooler, be ready for the real action. Wow. Why is this heartbroken or something? What's going on? I have no idea. But then as always, I will see you guys very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See ya, ciao.